and working hard to make sure that day is even better. Let's go to the czar of body shops, Mike Miniger. Miniger's Auto Body, MikeMiniger.com. For a good time, call Mike.
Aren't I the mayor of Garden City or something? I can't remember. There's some phrase coined. That was a long wait, Kevin, and I hate to send you a bill, and you can refute it, but I can't hang on the phone that kind of time.
That was a drive-over country, we called it.
I felt like I called into Dave Petzo's show instead of yours with all this weight, but, you know. So popularity, you got it. So the California transplants, I was one of those in 1976, and I'll tell you what, this place was ugly to move into in 1976 as a Californian. They would actually drive by and flip you off, and there were cars that were, I don't want to say vandalized, let's just say notes left on them. And so the whole thing back in the mid-'70s when Hewlett-Packard came here, that's how I got here, was my mom was actually in 1974 the first transferee from Palo Alto, California to Boise that was paid for, where the company buys their home and all that. So I stayed 2 years down in California, came here. So today, we've had this constant influx over the years. We've had better times, but the Rodney King deal, the fires down there, there's been all kinds of tragedy and natural things that have happened that have caused people to come up here. But what I find more alarming than the people that are coming here is from California, the Oregon and Washington people that I encounter that are coming here seem to be bringing the politics that my side doesn't want. When people come into me with a body problem, a car crash problem, I don't know what it is, but I can actually tell a new person in town. It's a weird thing that they're untrusting. Boise people seem to be very trusting. The new transplants that come here, whether they're conservative or Democrats, they seem to be leery of doing business because they're used to coming from high population areas where you got to watch out all the time. And Boise's kind of still got that small town feel. So I question them when they come in. Did you just move here recently? Or they'll tell you, well, I'm new in town. And then you ask, I ask. You're going to think I'm weird. I'll say, did you bring your conservative politics with you? And, oh, yeah, blah, 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 blah. So I think we're getting a lot of the best of that state. I know there's going to be the Democrats that come too, but Idaho's known for its conservative politics. So if you're a flaming lib, Kevin, I don't think this is the place that you want to be, quite frankly. I think
they're ready to turn all the conservatives, and I think there are a lot of libs running wild.
Well, yeah, but Boise, Boise's already liberal. It already is. It's already flipped. So has Sun Valley. But the state is large enough, Kevin. I'm going to be 65 Thursday, so my life, I'm on the other side. I'm on the downhill side. So although I have kids and grandkids here, that concerns me. But I think it's going to be a while. If it does happen, I think it's going to be a while. That doesn't comfort you at all, does it?
Well, you're saying you've had a good run, and the heck with the rest of us.
Oh, that's what you sound like. You sound like mainstream media.
I get a lot of practice.
That's quite comical. I am going to send you a bill for my time.
I think, quite frankly, there's a crisis going on here, and the only program that will report it is this one, for as long as we're able to do that.
Well, what's your measuring stick?
The measuring stick is all the people coming in from California.
Yeah, but you don't know that they're all.
Oh, I
liberal.
know. I see all the plates and everything else, and then I see the people that say they're conservative. You look at the congressional guys. The last time they ran, what was it, in 2016? And you look at the margins in Ada County, and you look how they continue to diminish. And you have conservative folks not doing very well in Ada County, even in the 1st Congressional District, and you think to yourself, well, what the heck's going on? Now, you could say it's the unwashed masses, the libs from Oregon or Washington, but that's only a small percentage. Look, I think culturally, conservative, liberal, whatever, this state is going to go through a transformation in the next, not even 10 years, in the next 3 to 5 years, with this massive influx of people. Remember, we have allegedly 1.3, 1.5 million people. You get an influx of 100, 200, 300,000. That's a lot of votes to swing. That's a lot of culture to swing.
No, I'm not going to argue that at all. I can't. I don't have any bullets in my gun for that. I think you're absolutely right. Part of the problem is and I'm not flopping my story. I can't argue that point. What bothers me is we're too close to California. I mean, I go back and forth all the time voting, and you know, in 8 hours, I can be right in the center of it, right? And I can certainly understand why people want to come here, and I'm concerned too. It's not me only, and I don't care because I look at my grandkids and go, what world are they going to live in? And it, you know, not only, I mean, don't you feel fortunate though? I mean, I feel fortunate that we're here. I feel fortunate I was able to make adults out of my children in this area.
I see it all. I see it all slipping away just by at 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning. I have some idiot tailgating me, which didn't happen 2 years ago, or how crazy people are driving. Yeah. That's what I see.
I agree with you. I hate to say that, but I agree with you. But I don't want to get down about it.
Well, you should be happy. You should be happy to agree with me because then you would be right.
I hear that little snide snicker.
It is
so funny.
It is very snide and snickery. That's what I am.
It is snickery. You're a Snickers bar. That's what you are. Oh, Kevin. Sorry I haven't called more. Been busy, but I don't get a great opportunity. But just every time I'm on, there's somebody much more important than me. Every time I'm listening, which is a good thing. You're starting to draw the right people.
Well, we always appreciate you, Mike Miniger. You stay out of trouble.
Well, I don't know why you appreciate me. You just shot me in the head on our little conversation, so I'm out. It'll probably be another couple months before I call. I don't like getting beat down like that.
It's how I show my affection, and always to shoot than to be shot. It's always better.
Oh, you're right. Love you, bro. Talk to you later.
Love you, Mike. Take care.
See ya.
Bye-bye. Our great friend, Mike Miniger. Let's go to Steve in Meridian at KIDO Talk Radio with Kevin Miller. Hello, Steve.
Hey, good morning, Kevin. Thanks for the call. Just commenting on LeBron James's comments and other people who seem to be infatuated with the physical details of people and this racism topic. It's very challenging in this world when somebody judges you for something you can't control. I happen to be a white Christian male, and I think there's not a worse demographic to be in our country right now if you want real prejudice. However, when Martin Luther King talked about things, he talked about the content of people's character, and yet the people that claim to support Martin Luther King's principles are not really emphasizing the content of people's character. They're all about physical genetics. And it's an infatuation with things that nobody can control. I can control that I have blonde hair and blue eyes and I'm 5'10" and all this stuff. And yet, the people that spend their time talking about and their efforts supporting one group or another, well, it's easy for any person on this planet to support someone like themselves. That doesn't take any courage or guts. What really takes loving boldness and heroism is to support someone different than yourself. So you show me somebody who is in favor of real content of character and helping other people, that's somebody I want to follow, not just somebody who's supporting somebody that looks like themselves. That's nothing special. And, it just gets old when someone like LeBron James, who's a predictable media influence person who is small-minded, although he's got a platform to share his small-minded ideals. And many people are naive to follow those beliefs, and it's a shame when I like him playing basketball, but he, like many other people, should stick to what he's expert at. He's not a social culture expert, that's for sure. So,
well, I agree, and it's unfortunate because he does do a lot of good, and but he has that popular narrative. Remember, he was one of the folks with Trayvon Martin that had the hoodies on and everything else. And I don't get it. If life is so bad, if the country is so bad, then how do we have success stories like LeBron James or Oprah Winfrey, who have really achieved stuff from humble backgrounds?
Yeah, and make no mistake, it's honorable what LeBron James has accomplished. What Oprah Winfrey, or any person who comes from little to, quote, success. But when you really look at life and you look at the history books, it's not about, I'm going to donate 0.001% of my $8 billion to a charity and look good. That really doesn't change history. So the little bit of good sprinkled in among LeBron James' efforts and charities, same with Oprah Winfrey. Sure, on her talk show, she passed out gifts to people and made herself look good. But that was such a small portion of her real wealth. The real impact of both of those people's lives could be viewed at negatively as well. What did they really do to change the opinions of the masses? They look good by giving on the surface, but really behind the scenes, what they're really doing is shaping trends of pop culture's opinion to the detriment of our country. And so it takes a real insightful, deep person to recognize that versus just to, oh, Oprah's so nice. She's so likable. Well, naturally, some of history's most evil people are super likable and have charisma. Naturally, they wouldn't have risen to the top otherwise. So it's no surprise that a person is likable. But from a real point of view of who really shapes history for the better, I question that. So thanks for letting me call in, Kevin. Have a great day.
Steve, thank you. Thank you for listening to KIDO Talk Radio, 580-5436. 580-KIDO. Getting back to the situation in California that could be coming here.
A dozen people wound up in handcuffs this weekend for trying to help their homeless neighbors by hand delivering food and toiletries. The reason that officials in El Cajon outlawed distributing food in parks and other city-owned places is because they say they want to stop the spread of deadly hepatitis A. But some locals are looking at it as a way to drive the homeless out of town. So a group called Break the Ban decided to test the will of local law enforcement. And they've now got misdemeanor citations to show for their efforts. When the LAPD tried to do something similar by cleaning up the notorious Skid Row neighborhood, they closed bathrooms there, also because they said they were trying to stop the spread of disease.
There we have it, our own Peter Ducey reporting, KIDO Talk Radio from Fox News Radio. By the way, we have 2 new reviews on our KIDO Talk Radio app. My mom, Pat Miller, she loves it, and Tom Munns, he loves it as well. He recommends that everybody get it. You can go to the App Store, or you can go to the Android store and get it. We're working on getting a link to our website so you can just kind of there. We're going to have a meeting on that today. But again, we do want to thank you for showing the suits that this is the place to be. And again, a lot of people talk about it. They're braggadocious. We like to be humble. But again, with the addition of our affiliate, the FM signal 107.5 FM, and now to have an app, which is basically you go to KIDOTalkRadio.com, you can hit it, you want to call, you can hit it, one button, you're on the air, one button, you're listening, and we appreciate that. Again, just another way we're trying to show, not tell, because let's face it, everybody can tell, but show you our commitment to serving the Treasure Valley. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. And we continue on documenting the influx of Californians to Idaho. Many people say it's because of Boise State and colleges indoctrinating students to the liberalism. It all reminds me of Star Wars, where you have the Jedi and the Sith, and no, we're not talking about the new Star Wars. We're talking about the real Star Wars, the new one. Like I said, it was funny. I was at church the other day, and, Father Len at Holy Apostles was talking about the new Star Wars, and he said, in the old days, it would take you years to become a master like a Jedi, and there you do it in 3 days and you become emotional. Very much a microcosm of the world we live in today. And that's what we're talking about. By the way, some of our sources say there are more conservative people coming in from California as opposed to the libs, but we'll continue to monitor that situation and take your phone calls. Let's go to Bob in Caldwell at KIDO Talk Radio with Kevin Miller. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning, Kevin. How are you doing today?
I am living the dream.
Well, my wife and I moved to Caldwell from San Diego in the Riverside, California area here in September, and did it for a variety of reasons. It reminds us of Wisconsin, people, the Paul Bunyan work ethic, et cetera, et cetera. However, I'm living in a miracle here, I think, because most of the business owners and people that I call on are so open-minded, interested in second opinions and stuff like that. It's 180% reversal from living down south where everybody's got their hair on fire. And nationally, I'm pretty encouraged when you listen to some of these inside experts that used to be with Homeland Security, CIA, FBI, et cetera, this whole thing, this Fusion Mueller scam is going to explode sooner rather than later and should be as big a thing in our history the last 200 years as Yellowstone. And when enough people see the truth, I think this big march towards the swamp is going to diminish big time. So I don't have concerns about we're going to turn into Sodom and Gomorrah here. California is kind of a lost cause because they put out too much free stuff. Now everybody's addicted to it rather than work. In fact, they make fun of people at work. So I am encouraged with good news for a lot of the other pockets in the country. And if you want to do something interesting sometime, just take your phone and Google what's the Christian life of, and then put in names like Meryl Streep or De Niro or this idiot Trudeau up in Canada who thinks slaughtering 3 million kids a year is a good idea. And you'll get the same answer in each and every case. So a person ought to be able to come to their senses if they're confused and understand this isn't God's work and God's people. It's the reverse of that. So I wouldn't worry about it.
Bob, you keep calling, and we'll keep listening. Thank you.
God bless. Bye-bye.
God bless. Traffic and weather together with Kevin Miller. And let's go to Arvell in Fruitland with Kevin Miller at KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Arvell.
Good morning, Kevin. Concerning California, I am concerned that since they are defying the federal law against marijuana and having sanctuary cities, what's going to stop them from, or stop from people coming over from California in the way of peddling drugs and getting into the country through Southern California? You know, what good is a fence along the rest of the United States with Mexico if they can come into Southern California, which California would be likely to do? We may as well build our fence on the east side of California, and we might as well go on up through Oregon and Washington to keep this from happening, because it will happen. We're not going to be able to stop the problem of illegals coming in and the drugs more freely flowing into our state and others. That's my concern.
Well, you're a very optimistic young man.
Well, I wish I could be more optimistic, but I don't see a real answer to this problem, humanly speaking. I believe in having a theocracy where God is in control and ruling, and we won't see that until Jesus returns and sets up his millennial kingdom. But until then, we must endure.
And persevere.
Right.
Arvell, we appreciate you listening to KIDO Talk Radio. Thank you.
Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Phone number is 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Let's go to Tom in Nampa with Kevin Miller at KIDO. Hello, Tom.
Hello, Kevin. Well, as a recent transplant from California, I don't think you have to worry about this state turning into another bastion of liberalism, because most of us that are moving up here are more of the conservative nature, maybe not way over to the far right. At least I'm more mainstream. But I was just looking at voting results in the 2016 election, and Trump carried Ada County. In fact, there was only 2 counties that Clinton did take was Blaine County by a substantial margin, and Latta County by a small margin. I guess Latta's up around the Lewiston area. that correct? What's in Blaine County that would make it or take that to 2-1?
You got me.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of unusual because I'm looking at the whole map here right now, and it's almost solid red except for those two counties. I don't even think the Democrats are running a candidate for governor this year, are they?
They're running two.
Pardon?
They're running two, Tom.
Well, he must not be well known. I haven't even heard their names.
Actually, A.J. Belukoff ran the last time, and state representative from the north is running as well, and they really haven't gotten out as much. But, yes, A.J. Belukoff is well known in the city of Boise, sir.
Well, I know I talked to somebody when I was at the hospital a while back who happened to be a Democrat. I don't find many of them up here. And he lamented that most of the Californians in here that have been moving up are making Idaho more conservative. If you look at the voting patterns, I don't think they've had a governor from the Democratic Party up here since Cecil Andrews, and that was back when the Democrats were a little more mainstream. And it's gone so far to the left now that some of us, look at California. Jerry Brown has gone so crazy on environmental issues that he doesn't even want a car that is got the combustion engine sold in California by the year 2040. And it's just, I came from the northern part around Redding, and that was in that one area that Trump carried. But I think Trump was probably one of the poorest candidates the Republicans ever put up, and he beat Hillary Clinton. I'm looking right here. Let me see here what the state result was: 404,000. The Clintons 180,000. That's better than 2-1, and that was with a Mormon candidate polling about 8% of the vote here. He was from Utah.
Right, Evan McMillan. Yeah.
I don't see these trends you're talking about.
Well, keep it here. I'll explain them to you coming up.
Because in Ada County, he even carried Ada County by 9%. So I don't see, Boise becoming another Denver or Seattle anytime soon. So I just don't see it happening. Now, I certainly don't agree with the last caller that talked about wanting a theocracy. We are a republic with a pluralistic beliefs up, and I think you start making a theocracy and look at all the different countries in the world that run like that. That's what they got in the Arab countries, and it's failed everywhere you look at it. It becomes tyrannical, and so I don't know. I think this is a great place to live, and just about every Californian I've run into that's moved up here feels likewise.
Tom, we appreciate the call. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
You're listening to Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Maggie.
Good morning.
And more of your phone calls on the future of the Gem Estate. Tom in Meridian, good morning. You're on KIDO Talk Radio with Kevin Miller. Good morning, Tom.
Hi, good morning. How are you, Kevin?
Not bad. Not bad. Just the bellwether in the storm here.
There you go. I'm a Southern California transplant, super conservative. I basically consider myself a political refugee as I fled California. And one of the things that I found that keeps Idaho in the condition that it's in is our minimum wage is low and our welfare contributions to recipients is, I think it's 50 in the country. But the low minimum wage, it stops a lot of the career minimum wage workers from moving into an area, and it also allows the kids to work those jobs as they're intended so they can help develop some work ethics. But most of the jobs that I've seen here are $10, $11, $12 an hour, far over minimum wage. But it serves a purpose. And just while I was on hold, I heard this thing about free shuttle service and stuff like this. And it kind of makes me cringe because everything you start advertising as free, it starts attracting people who want more free things. And while I was the guy who answered your call, by the way, we started talking about the labor unions. And I've seen a lot of cities in Los Angeles, little smaller cities, absolutely turn to slums when the union started moving in and paying these guys $20, $25 an hour, where they used to make $10 an hour. And they ended up destroying the city where they moved because now they could afford a nice house there. So there's a lot of downfalls to these programs that people think are benefiting everyone, and in fact, they're hurting most people. How about that?
Tom, how was Southern California lost?
Well, I always say everything's illegal except the illegals. No matter where you lived, we lived in a city where property value was anywhere from $600,000 to $900,000, and we had a little street fair. And no matter how nice your area is, you still have gang elements. And heck, I was at a Rite Aid in this city, and right next to me was a gentleman who was robbing the store. I didn't even realize it until a few seconds later. But this is what you're surrounded by down there.
Well, like I said, I don't know, and maybe I'm getting too California here in the state of Idaho. My knowledge of your former state is limited, but I mean, does it all go back to Bob Dornan losing his congressional seat in Orange County back in the day?
Well, I was surprised when they got Gray Davis out, and I was not surprised that Governor Brown made it as many times as he has. It's just I hate to say this, but it's just all of the brainwashing of the media, of the news, of the teachers there. My daughter still lives in California, and she is the typical liberal who has no idea of the destruction that's behind the agenda that's being pushed to her. And it's all about her. If it doesn't affect her directly, then it's okay. I mean, it's just crazy as to the way they think down there.
Well, welcome to America.
Oh my God! Thank you so much. It's great to be here. So anyway, I just wanted to fill your listeners in that this high minimum wage and free programs aren't what they cracked out to be, and if they knew what was behind them, they'd even more be against them.
Tom, you have a great day.
So, you too, sir. Thank you again for taking my call.
Thank you. Appreciate people. It's amazing, and I was talking to somebody, the growth of this program. We know you have a lot of choices in the morning, so we do appreciate you listening to 107.5 FM and 580 AM KIDO Talk Radio. Gerald and Eagle, good morning. You're on with Kevin Miller talking about California. Good morning.
Hi, Kevin. I was going to chime in on the caller you had a couple of callers ago, and I know you know this, but I was going to say it does not at all tell the story. It is not enough, to just call up like the 2016 election results, look at a map, and say, no, Idaho's fine. Look at this. Look at all the red here. We only had 2 or 3 counties that went for Hillary. What we know, it's the incremental change. I would encourage someone like that caller, look at the election results going back. Go back to 92, 96, and more specifically, look at Ada County and look what is emanating out from the city of Boise. And it is changing big time. It is getting more and more liberal the further we go along, and that is not going to change. I lived in California all of my life, moved away in 96, and moved to Denver. And I lived there until 2010, so I was there for 14 years, saw the changes that occurred there, largely because of the influx of liberal Californians moving in. And anyway, I've been here since 2010, and I see the changes going on here. And it's, like I said, it emanates from the city of Boise. And I think we're in trouble. And I've begun my search for my next Shangri-La. I don't know that it exists in 2018 America, but within, I'm going to say 5 to 7 years, this is not going to be what it is today when we all say, well, hey, I love it here. I do too, but it is changing. And the further along you came here, like people who might have moved here in 2002, they'll often say, yeah, it was great the first few years, but it got bad. If you moved here in 2007, you say, boy, what a great change from California. But it's changed now. Well, see, that's the pattern that is happening. You come here from California at first, and it's better than the pitch you left behind. But within a couple of years, you feel the change. And so I think we've got 3 to 5 to 7 years, and then we're in trouble.
I couldn't agree with you more, Gerald.
Okay, thanks, Kevin.
Thank you. Hey, IDO Talk Radio, Kevin Miller in the morning. Let's go to Liberal Steve, who joins us now. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Kevin Miller.
That sounded like a little roughness there, but go ahead.
Yeah, my cold's just about over.
Thank goodness.
You know, I got a Kevin Miller cold. Usually got them at the turkey outing.
You're right.
You know, they just got to stop bashing California. And what's this guy searching all over for my next Shangri-La? You know, it's his world, his highway. Get out of my car if you don't want to drive with me. You know, there's 800 million people in California, and only 3 million difference in the registered voters as far as between Democrat and Republican. Come on, Arnie Snortsy got in and all that. Constantly running down Californians. They got to stop.
I don't think we're running down Californians. I think we're sounding the alarm that your ilk are finally coming to reinforce you. The libs are coming to overtake us.
Kevin, they've been saying this for 30 years about California and the libs. 30 years.
Well, we see it now.
Year after year after year. If it wasn't for people like me that stick up for our neighbors there in California, and Redding all the way down to Sacramento is completely owned by Simplot, you know, an Idaho native. Come on, just stop. You know, if Democrats want to win in Idaho, they got to wise up. Almost 230,000 registered voters come out of Ada County. Twin Falls only has about 30,000.
Yeah, but you can't disagree that the amount of Democrat progressive votes, and we're not talking in the presidential, but the off-year elections are growing.
Oh, absolutely, as they should.
And you should be happy about that. I'm not happy about it.
They've seen how corrupt. Look what our state attorney did. He sent all our names and Social Security numbers off to this investigation joke in Washington, D.C., and they've disappeared. They don't even know where they went.
Well, let's get back to the idea that let's go back to the topic here, which is this state is going to be transformed, and there's one group of people that are aware of it, and that's the people that listen to this program.
Absolutely.
Everybody else is going, well, it's going to be good. I don't think so. You talk to people that do this for a living, that study the demographics, that study the influx of people that are moving in, and they're not. Look, I love the conservative people. I wish they would all move in. But you're getting a lot of libs coming in, and I know you're happy about it, but I'm not. I'm sounding the alarm. Culturally and everything else, you're seeing a very, very different state of Idaho.
Well, that's exactly why I'm talking to you today. It will continue to happen because of people like Liberal Steve. Period.
You are the founding father of the liberal movement here.
As it should be.
You're the George Washington of the folks from California, although I think they'll find you too conservative for them.
Hey, would you help me out here? I want to start a new coffee and, advertise on your show here. And I want to call it the Miller Mix. Well, the Miller Mix in the morning.
Where would the proceeds go to? The Liberal Steve Retirement Fund?
What do you mean, my retirement fund?
Well, if you're selling coffee, you're going to have to make money. So who's going to get the money?
It's one of the largest addictions other than nicotine out there. So yeah, it won't be too hard to sell.
Right, but I'm saying to you how and we've had people approach us about doing a merchandising deal and stuff. Look, we still have a long way to go before we do any of that stuff. But I'd like to know where the money would go.
In my pocket.
Well,
All your conservative listeners out there would love a cup of Miller Mix in the morning.
From Liberal Steve. Yes, brewed by Liberal Steve, yes.
Absolutely.
I think that'd be brand confusion, they would call that.
Well, once the state passes retail cannabis, we could do a little Miller Mix coffee cannabis. You know, you got to look to the future, Kevin. You can't keep staring at the past.
You know, here's the thing: if you don't have scruples, you can make a ton of money in America. You know, and why stop it?
Like Trump.
Why stop at cannabis? Why not go with brothels and such?
Well, we used to have all that.
Who?
And they went and shut it. We used to have tons of brothels in the state of Idaho.
Really?
Do your history. Just
were you around during that time?
No, I wasn't a minor back then, Kevin. But yes, that's how Peg Leg Annie lost her leg.
Peg Leg.
You don't know about Peg Leg Annie in Idaho?
Hold on. I just have to share this with people listening. And this is what I love about you. And people, you always get a reaction. But you remember when Speaker Bedke came in, right?
Yeah, and he's still in office.
And remember when I said, now, you have to be a good liberal, Steve, and you can't speak to him. Right, and you didn't. And so, first of all, I called him like the House majority, the leader of the House, and he didn't like that because I got his title wrong. And then he looked at you and you said, because he's from somewhere, and you go, hey, do you know Black Joe? And he just was horrified by that. It's my favorite liberal Steve story, but anyway.
He's so easy to mislead. All Republicans are. But yeah, Kevin, it's going to happen. We'll take over the state. And,
I think you've said that 75 times, Andy Kaufman.
We'll be a happier island unto ourselves again. You stay fired up and have a drink of Miller Mix.
God bless our friend Liberal Steve. Let's go to Liberty Linda with Kevin Miller at KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Liberty Linda.
Good morning, Kevin. You know, we rarely agree with Liberal Steve, but we still love him.
We do. He's kind of like that uncle that lives upstairs.
Sorry, like our little doggy that we pet him on the head.
Wow. I see.
Anyway, I'm a Californian that didn't move here to flee California. So I'm probably the only one here. And my daughter invited me up here, after my husband passed away. But, I've come to love Idaho.
Sure.
But, Kevin, all the conservatives in California, everyone I talked to that was fleeing, they talked about 3 states, Idaho, Utah, and Washington. And that's the ones they wanted to move to. And mainly, Washington isn't conservative, but it's beautiful there. But anyway, they moved here because they were conservative. And I didn't know any others that were moving here. But, before I went up to Utah for a year, that's what they're all talking about, that Idaho was so conservative and they loved it here. So anyway, I wanted to share that with you.
Well, hopefully we can keep it that way.
Then being in California many times, when you have individuals coming into your country, shaking their fingers into your face, staying there, taking over your country, that shakes you up quite a bit.
Heck yeah.
And that happened to a lot of Californians being told that our country is going to be taken over. And so it was pretty scary when that would happen to you.
Heck yeah.
And that's a truthful story.
Well, that isn't good. So I see why the people from California want to come here. It's a shame. It's a shame that what once was America's most prosperous and beautiful state, and my heart aches for these people. I just worry about the others coming in that you want to turn us into little Sacramento.
I completely understand you. Since I moved up here, it was very conservative. The city here, Boise, was a different city when I first moved up here. But within 2 to 3 years, this city began changing. And it's changed quite a bit since I've moved up here. But the one thing we're thankful for, Kevin, is that you moved here.
Well,
you have brought us all together in this valley so wonderfully. And And, I said many times, I'm not just saying that because we all mean it when we say that to you.
Well, I'm blessed to be here with all of you. It's a very humbling time, and hopefully we'll be here for many more years together.
I agree with you. It's a beautiful place, and I do love it here, and especially the people.
God bless Liberty and Letty. You take care.
You as well, Kevin. Talk to you later.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
You're listening to Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. And much more on our series to save the gem state. And I think this is something that we'll be on to uniquely to this audience and to you. Ray and Maya, great job as always. Always appreciate you listening. We know you have a lot of choices in the morning, so thank you for starting your day with us. We'll do our very best to do better tomorrow. Once again, as always, KIDO Talk Radio is your home for Fox News on the radio. And